And that's the sign that we're ready to go. So without further ado, good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. My name is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber, and I'm very pleased to introduce Lukas Deutscher, who is Global Chamber Zurich. He's located outside there, and we've taken the liberty to include a conversation today as part of our Doing Business in ... series, where we're going to be talking about the various cities of Switzerland. So if you'd like to know more about doing business there, what opportunities are there, what cultural issues to consider when you're doing business in Switzerland, whether it's the French-speaking side or the German side, if side is the right word, probably not. We'll learn more about all of that today. The Doing Business in series, I believe we've had about 7 of those that cover 35 to 40 cities. Global Chamber has 525 metros, so it's going to take a while. We do that program every 2 weeks. This one is on Switzerland. Our next one is on Kuwait. We are planning, and I'm feeling pretty good about the 31st, March 31st, on Doing Business in Ukraine. That is an event that we had put together before the war started. And now I've found through members, some other people who have committed to speak, including our members in Ukraine, who have not committed again after the war started, but I hope and expect that they'll be there. They're active in LinkedIn. I haven't had the gall to ask them or to reconfirm their involvement, but I presume that they will be there. So please join on the 31st. Show them your support, and hopefully the war will have been ended by then. Some of the other Doing Business ins coming up include Mexico City on April 14th, and several other cities within Mexico. So Lukas, thank you for leading this conversation today. I think you're going to be kicking off with introducing some thoughts that you have around doing business in different parts of Switzerland. You originally are from Germany, and so you're more on the German-speaking side. I've heard a little bit of your French too, and that's just enough to be dangerous. So congratulations on all of that. Congratulations on your role with Global Chamber. Once you speak, and please frame up how you see the rest of the hour going, please feel free to introduce some of the others that have agreed to speak, like John Cook, who I mentioned earlier, and also anybody else who would like to speak, including Tal Zilverberg, who has been your sponsor here at Global Chamber Tel Aviv, Israel. Anybody else that would like to speak, I'm sure we'll be able to arrange it. So without further ado, Lukas Deutscher, thank you for leading our conversation today.
Doug, thank you so much for this very, very kind introduction, and thank you to all of you to show up. It's the first meeting I'm leading, and I'm pretty excited. What I was thinking about regarding the one I saw from Korea was to introduce the country Switzerland to you. Like, how does it look? Where are the main centers of business, and where is the most population in? That you get a feeling for the country, and which specialties, especially the people, have here. What would you what should you know about people when you're going to do business here? What is important for them and stuff like this? Because in the end, also like Global Chamber, you're always doing business with people, and this is why I took a closer view to this than like raising much numbers. Yeah. Please feel free, if you have any experience regarding Switzerland, like John, or any questions, feel free to get in. And I think I'll need maybe maximum 10 minutes for my initial presentation, and thereafter we are open for a discussion and questions. And I'm really, really happy if anybody's interested. I can get some connections here to different advisors if someone is thinking about getting here. Yeah. Okay, so I start the presentation. Just give me a second so I can share my screen. I hope it's working now. Yeah, here we go. Okie dokie. So, doing business in Switzerland. First of all, this is Switzerland. And this is a chart which should just show you where is the business going on in which areas of the country. You see, I'm based here close to Luzern, and then Zug is a very high business related area. Zurich up here. The other city I'll get back to is Basel. And the third one I want to talk shortly about is Geneva. And yeah, you see this is much mountains, a lot of farmers, but not that big businesses. The core businesses taking part in this area. For your information, this area is basically speaking German. It's called Schweizerdeutsch. It's a very kind accent of the German language. And this is the French part here, Lausanne, Geneva. So this is the border to French. And down here, it's Italy. It's Italian speaking people here. So we have, this is pretty unique. We have 3 different languages in such a small country, which only has like 8.6 million people living in it overall. Yeah, so it's quite special. Yeah, like I told you, it's 80.6 million people in Switzerland. They are most famous for cheese and chocolate, and the gross domestic product of 2020 was $748 billion. So it's not that huge like the US or Germany, but it's for such a small country, I think it's pretty much. I just wanted to make sure billion is milliarden, as one more than a million. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Three zeros. Yep.
Yeah. And the top three branches in Switzerland are raw material extraction, fabrication and material improvement, and services, and especially services like in banking, or also like the consulting firms are based here. Yeah. Let's talk about the language shortly. 24% don't speak German. So it's a German-speaking country, but 24% are not speaking German. This is just what I just showed you: the French part, the German part, Italian part, and also a very small part is Romanic. Yeah, exactly. Here we go. And to give you an introduction of all these areas, I picked 3 major cities in Switzerland, which is Basel, Zurich, and Geneva. Myself, I've been to Zurich and Basel, so I could definitely answer more questions regarding these 2 than in Geneva. But yeah, let's see what happens. Basel is a city in the northeast, northwest of Switzerland. It has 190,000 employees overall, and it's famous absolutely for the life science, the medical healthcare branch, where most of these type of companies are located in there. So if you're interested in that sector, Basel is the city to be for you. The main language is German. Part-wise, they also speak French, but it's a very low part because it's also close French to the border. But the main language is German. Yeah, and it's called the city in the 3-country corner. Something like it's a Swiss saying that because it's very close to these 2 other countries. Yeah, which makes the communication and the transport with these other 2 countries very easy for that city. Next city is Zurich. I've been there for 6 weeks when I arrived in Switzerland. It's a city which is very modern, very clean. Many insurances, like Zurich Insurance, but also banks are located there. Also, Google has its main main headquarter from Europe in here. The main spoken language in business is Swiss German, so like Schweizerdeutsch, is this kind of funny accent. Yeah, and it has the biggest airport in Switzerland. So if you ever thinking about coming to Switzerland, it's most likely that you'll arrive in Zurich. Other cities also have airports, but this one is the hugest. Yeah. Exactly, and besides the banks and the insurances, Zurich also has a huge startup scene. So I don't know. We were chatting again. Ben, I guess it was you. We were chatting about the angel investor thing. Zurich also has many startups, many much potential for new companies. Exactly. The third and last city I want to introduce you is Geneva. It has almost it has a little bit more employees than Basel, and it's quite like Zurich. It's very famous for the financial services, but also for the NGO things like UNO and World Health Organization. It's public for being very liberal. Many talks of conflicts have been taken place there because their motto is to let everybody be like they are, and don't make too many rules as long as you don't bother other guys. This is in general, you can say Switzerland is a very liberal country, where you can do what you think is right as long as you don't bother the borders of your neighbor. So this is a very general speaking, but it describes the country itself from my point of view pretty good. And this is also one big reason why I came here, because they're very liberal and they like to be free in their options. I hope I could bring that close to you, what I mean. And this is the city where the main spoken language also in business is French. So if you thinking about Geneva, they are talking, most of them, I think more than 80% is French speaking. And by the way, Zurich and Geneva, it's like 3.5 hours apart by car, I think, something like that, or 4, and completely different cultural in one country. This is very, very unique. I don't know any other country where this is like that. Exactly. One special thing I really wanted to talk about, because this is something also which is hyped in some media, is the taxation in Switzerland. This chart just shows you where you can get really, really great taxations when you starting a company here, and the red areas are very high taxation, also for companies, but also for private people. And what Basel, the city I mentioned before, did is they started to improve their tax system to get more companies in there. I guess it was 2020 when they started that program. But nevertheless, the best taxation is in central Switzerland. This is the cantons. It's like a single state. It's called Schwyz and Zug. And there you have basically a taxation for companies like 11 and 12%, which is comparable compared to most of the other countries, very, very low. Like for example, in Germany, where I lived before, you have between, regarding how much you earn, between 25 and 42%, even sometimes even more. Yeah. And this is something which is always, not always, but often used, this topic, that people found a company in Switzerland to bring some of their earnings to another country with less taxation there, to keep more of their money. Yeah. This is it's a huge thing. Many big companies did that, and also the small businesses, solopreneurs, and people like that are starting to do that, to simply have more control over their own money, to get less taxation. Yeah. This is what I wanted to share, because it's not unique, but because you also have in Europe, you have Cyprus, where you get really low taxation. I don't know about the Emirates, how it's, but I heard that it is pretty low there too. So maybe some of you can have any comparison with that. Yeah. What I told you in the beginning, I just want to get to the people which are living here and doing businesses. So original people from Switzerland are very liberal, and they're always on time. This is a cliche which is pretty much right. I only know one Swiss guy who is not in time always, and this is basically my neighbor. Yeah. They when you get in touch with them and you like having talks and yeah, try to make a deal, they have very long, they need a long time to make a decision. But if they make a decision and they stick to you and they like you, they gotta stick for you with you forever. Like they it's hard for them to make a decision, but when they do it, they really go for it, like for long term. Yeah, these people are really looking always for long-term businesses. Like basically every second country around the lake I'm hosted, like Lucerne, is 30, 40, 50 years old, and they are doing businesses with each other. And for startups, it's sometimes pretty tough to get in there, but when you're in the circle, and they also they you're not like just a business partner. They really build relations with each other, and this is something I haven't seen in this kind of way anywhere else in a country. Yeah. Yeah, they are basically very supportive to you. So we got to know many Swiss people since we live here, and they're very supportive, but they're expecting that you do something for the community. When you bring yourself in and you're like basically help your neighbors, or then they get back to you and they value it, and they want to build long-term relationship. I think this is the most important thing you need to know about Swiss companies and Swiss people. Yeah. Besides that, they're very liberal. Yeah. So please keep in mind when you thinking about doing business in Switzerland, they're looking for long-term relationships. Yeah. Okay, that's basically it from my short presentation. And I'm really glad if you could maybe in the end or after the meeting to give me some short feedback, which info might have been needed additionally, or which one was not useful for you. Yeah, I'm living from your feedback, so thank you. And I'm hoping to get some questions or some additional words from guys who have been to Switzerland.
Great, thank you. I'm happy to help and support the facilitation of the meeting, Lucas. I thought that was really good. One question I had I think you answered, but when you started talking about really great taxation, I wasn't sure whether you meant great like high taxation or great like we have applied, reduced taxation so it provides a better working environment. But I think what you were saying was the latter, right? You were that the cantons or the cities have established low taxation rates for startups in certain circumstances. I think we're quite clear on that, but just reconfirming.
Yes, it's absolutely the second one. Like the taxation level is very low in some in overall, but in some villages and in areas it's up to 10 or 11%. In Zurich, for example, it's 25%. But this is the level where you where the range is, and when you look at other countries, 30 to 40%. So it's a huge amount which keeps in your pocket, which you keep in your pocket. Yeah, exactly.
Very good. Before we move on to John Cook, who'll be our next speaker, are there some questions that you have for Lukas? And feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question directly.
Lukas, hi, I have a question. Andrew Wolfling with Monex. We're a global financial company. We have operations in the European Union and the UK, but not in Switzerland. Do you know, within the European Union, if you're licensed in one country, you can operate in other EU countries. They call it passporting. You can use your license in Spain and operate in the Netherlands. Does that apply to Switzerland too? I know Switzerland's not in the EU, but they have very close economic ties to the EU. Could we passport our license into Switzerland?
To be honest, I can't exactly answer that question because I don't know if your license will be accepted in Switzerland. Yeah. But in general speaking, like you said, it's not part of the EU, and it's not that they are very open to accept other licenses than their own.
Okay, of course.
Just to give you a short example, I have a helicopter license for myself, and I can use it to fly here, to charter and everything, but to work here, I need to resign it to a Swiss one, and to have all privileges. So it's possible that it will be it will be accepted, but maybe with some sanctions is the wrong word, but some boundaries.
Modification, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you I'm gonna text my details in the chat, and if you like, you can send me a short mail what exactly you need to know, and I can try to find it out for you because I have closer network here.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah?
Thank
Pleasure,
you.
pleasure. Thank you for your question.
Great. Any other questions for Lukas? And hearing none, please
Yes.
either. Oh,
hi, Doug. I have a question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Lukas. How are you? Good to
Hi,
see
Lukas.
you. With Ellie today, or?
I am in India right now.
Okay, very good. Not in the northern lights threw me off a little bit. So please go ahead with your question.
Yeah. So Lukas, I do offer consulting to a lot of Indian companies, especially when they are opening offices overseas. US is my prime and most lucrative attraction destination for opening companies. I have an office there as well. Do you have, just like in US, you can open an entity on your own? You don't need a partner or a local person as a citizen of US. Is that something you can do it in Switzerland as well? You can open up your own entity without any help or without any partnership from a local citizen?
Yeah, I know that it's not possible. You need to be in Switzerland to open up an entity, but there's always the option, and many people do this, to get to a taxation consultant. It's called in Switzerland, it's called Treuhänder, and those guys are often willing to to be this official CEO, yeah, give you a spot where you can where your company, your mailbox is on, and then you pay them like for their service a small amount of money, but constantly, and then you can go for it and open up your own company. But the CEO of a company needs to be a Swiss
Citizen.
Citizens. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Like I also have the permission to stay and work here, but this is enough. You need something like that.
Would you be able to connect me to some tax consultant? This is something very similar to Hong Kong and Singapore.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
you need to have, and a lot of these Singapore CAs, we call them chartered accountants or tax consultants, they become the major stakeholder, but they don't have, they're actually only on papers for you to get your operations done in that mainland. So I would be willing to talk to some tax consultants. I'll share my email address. In fact, I'll send you an email when you share your email address in the chat, and let's connect.
I'll share it right now, and then I'm really glad to help you here, because I have a really amazing tax advisor. He helped me with all that stuff coming from Germany, and they got me off the hook. Absolutely.
I will be in Zurich next month on 2 days, 8th and 9th of April. So we'll fix up. I think you're in
8th and
Zurich.
9th of April. I'm on Crete on that time. I'm so sorry. I would love to see you. Yeah, but no worries. We set it up before the connection, and then you might meet Henrik.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Lucas. Thank you.
Well, before we take any more questions, let's move on to our next speaker. And we have some famous people in the audience. I see Tal, looking forward to getting to you. And I see Ruby in Ghana and Catherine Reed. I hope you'll say a few things. I'll bet you know quite a bit about doing business in Switzerland. Let's go, though, first to John Cook. John is a longtime member of Global Chamber. He's the chairman of, I always forget, ROC. It's something ROC or ROC something. Correct me.
Rock Lake Advisors.
Rock Lake. It should be obvious. So is Rock Lake actually in Switzerland? Is there a Rock Lake, or did you just get inspired one day on walking through the Alps?
That's a very good question. Actually, the name I'm from Wisconsin in the U.S. In the middle near Madison, and my family's been there for 200 years, living on a lake called Rock Lake. And so when I left the corporate world, I set up my own company here, and I thought I'll be audacious and I'll call it Rock Lake. And everybody I meet, I give them my card, and they say, "What a great name for Switzerland with all the rocks and all the lakes." So then I can tell them it's from the flat middle of Wisconsin.
That's great. How long have you been in Zurich now?
I've been in Zurich for 26 years. My company is based in Zug, which is one of the cantons and cities that Lukas mentioned. I've enjoyed living here. I don't have any prepared remarks or any PowerPoint. I just want to share my impressions and answer any questions and make myself available to anybody who would like to follow up with, for example, the question about taxation. I also have a very good tax advisor here. He's done my taxes for 20 years, based in Zug. For your information, I'm from the US, and I filed my US taxes for the past 42 years that I've been living in Europe. When I left Thunderbird, I went international, but I never disappeared from the IRS radar. So every year I file my US taxes and I file my Swiss taxes. You can't escape that unless you like to wear. I like fashion, but I don't like wearing stripes. So so it's a good idea, especially in today's world, to follow the rules and report who you are and what you have and what you do, and that applies to Switzerland. Just one comment on the question about being able. I think Andrew asked a question about whether licenses, if you have a license to do financial services in Europe, when I say Europe, the EU, does that give you licenses to operate in Switzerland? The answer is absolutely not. No way. It's a separate country, separate everything, like the UK is now after Brexit. My company is licensed and regulated here for financial services in Switzerland and in the UK. We have a subsidiary in the UK, wholly owned subsidiary, but we do not have license to market collective investment schemes across the EU. So we do business, but we still do business in other areas where it is legal, but you have to be careful. And the regulatory environment is changing in the EU a lot, constantly since the last 5 years. So the rules of the game are changing. You must seek good quality advice. I have been here for many years, and I have a good number of advisors, legal and tax advisors, who could help, and I'd be happy to refer you to anybody. And if you send me your name, and my name is on our website, and I think it's also published through Global Chamber here as a member. The lifestyle here is absolutely fantastic. The quality of life, quality of living is very high. The cost of living is very high. For the same buck that you would spend in the US or the UK or many other places, it'll cost you 2 or 3 times as much for whatever it is you're buying. Cost of housing here is high. Interest rates are low, as they are now all around the world. So it's relatively easy to borrow. If you want to buy a house here, you have to put down something like 20 or 30% of the cost of the house, of the house or the apartment, which is pretty high by US standards. You can buy a house for 5% down. Also, a lot of the rules that you might ask about doing business or living in Switzerland, they're really determined at the cantonal level. It's whether you're living in Canton Zurich or Zug or Geneva or Basel or Ticino. They have a very the federal level is relatively small compared to the power and influence and decision making at the cantonal level. There are 26 cantons in Switzerland, some big ones, some small ones. Some are expensive, some are very cheap in terms of tax, even in terms of cost of living. So you need local advice from a lawyer or accountant in the canton that you're looking to do business in or move to. I would also say, if you want to set up an operation here, I agree with Lukas, you have to have a presence here. That means invest some money here, own property or own a business. It's relatively easy to set up a business coming from abroad, but you have to put down, I think it's something like 500,000 to acquire or set up a business, 500,000 Swiss francs. And but as Lukas said, it's really, they're very open to doing business here. They welcome foreigners to come here and set up businesses and invest. They do have a very strict immigration policy. So if you can support yourself coming here, if you have a business, if you have an education, you contribute to the society here, to the economy, and you can establish yourself. It's pretty easy to get set up here. It's not easy to just move in and get a work permit unless you invest. And I think that's pretty much what is going on around the world. Lukas, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to I don't know I don't know if this is always like it's going, because maybe we're a special case, but we had the luck to come from Germany to Switzerland and already had a place to stay, like a renting contract. And with this renting contract, it was pretty easy to be a local citizen and then to go to Zug and sign the company. When you're not a citizen, then I'm totally with you. You need to invest. I don't know if you meant that, because I just had in mind that we didn't have to put so much money in. We just needed to move. It's this or the other way. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. There's no simple answer. There's no simple answer.
That's correct.
The question, if the question is moving here because you're not a citizen, sure, it's different if you're a citizen here, of course. But if you're not a citizen, which I presume is the case for most people on this call, special rules apply, and you need to get local advice at the cantonal level.
Great. It's simple if you talk to John or Lucas first, or relatively simple. So thank you for that. You I'm sure have some other comments, and in those, could you also mention a little bit about the innovation environment within Switzerland, and knowing that you're in kind of in the financial world and funding, and you've been very involved in that world. Could you talk a little bit about that as well, the situation and how things are evolving?
Yeah, so what my company does is we raise capital for private equity, venture capital, real estate, and we do that globally, not just here in Switzerland. Let me kill an incoming call. And the projects that we work on are usually between north of 50 million as a project, and we often invest in projects that we take on as a client. It's a very, very robust market here for the financial services industry. Banking is a big sector. Innovation is really red hot now. Just close to where I live here is the another call here is Crypto Valley, which is the world's capital for cryptocurrencies and crypto assets. And if you fly here, you get off the plane, you go through the airport, there's a big mural there that says Crypto Valley, and there are crypto banks that are set up here. And they have, I think it's in the thousands of crypto related and digital assets companies set up here in Crypto Valley, which is based in Zug, in the canton of Zug, which is where my office is. Innovation in terms of startups is become really robust. There's conferences going on every week, almost every day. There's new startups coming out. The Zurich Cantonal Bank, which is the third largest bank in Switzerland, has a several billion-dollar fund to fund technology startups. It's a very technologically advanced country in many verticals. Healthcare is one, as Lukas said, in Basel. They have a huge healthcare industry with Novartis and many pharma companies there. Financial service, fintech areas are big. I think Tim Lukas is speaking. Oh, maybe he's off the mic. Switzerland is always considered a neutral country, so it has positive relationships with all countries around the world, even Iran. And although for the first time in 250 years, they've finally taken sides in terms of the Ukraine situation that's going on. They've actually frozen the assets of the Russian oligarchs, and it's a huge topic here because there's a lot of Russians here, there's a lot of Ukrainians here, there's a lot of everybody here, and Switzerland is involved on a diplomatic and commercial basis with so many countries around the world. There's a lot of chambers of commerce here, like the Swiss Indian Chamber, the Swiss Swedish Chamber, the Swiss British Chamber, the Swiss Russian Chamber, the Swiss Korean Chamber. That's a good way to get plugged in if you have access to the counterpart in your own countries. You can get in that way. I can help you with introductions here if anybody's interested in getting in contact. I'm a member, Rock Lake has been a member for many years of the Swiss Venture Capital Association, this is the directory of about 1,000, no, I think it's about 600 members of the who's who of private equity and venture capital. For the last 10 years, I've been the co-chairman of the annual conference for the Swiss Venture Capital Association, where we have about 350 people coming once a year. The next one is going to be on July 5th. It's held at the Stock Exchange in Zurich. It's a pretty big event. We have speakers coming from around the world. And they have a very, if you go on to SECA, it's called SECA. SECA is the name of the organization. SECA is the Swiss Equity and Corporate Finance Association. You can email me for information on it. You can download their membership directory directly for the last 15 years. It's on their website. They have all the documents on the website of what it takes to set up a company here, what it takes to set up a startup, how to get funding for startups. And it's well worth plugging into. We have webinars every week, every 2 weeks. Sometimes I'm leading some of those and bringing people together as speakers. So we're always looking to network with people from other countries. I guess I'll stop there unless there's any questions. I've probably overrun my time, and I didn't come with any prepared comments, but I hope this was helpful.
Oh, amazing. Great information. Just so that we can get to everybody, we'll keep going around the room and ask your questions in the chat area. And if we have time at the end, we'll also open up the mics as well. There's a couple ladies in the audience, one on the German speaking side and one on the French speaking side that I'd like to get to, both members of Global Chamber. And while I'm thinking of it, Andrew's company, Monex, is not a member of Global Chamber, so keep that in mind. We do have firms that do his work, that can handle that. And Andrew, let's circle back because it's probably been a few years since we chatted. I think there's probably some things, especially now that you have a different name and a different focus, that we can help with. The two ladies that I'm talking about are Renee Meyer, who can talk about the French side of things. And Renee, you particularly have a life science, biopharma. I'm a chemical engineer, work for DuPont, and I'd spent most of my time in Switzerland and Geneva and Basel and in that area. And you have too. And so I'm wondering, hearing what you're hearing and from your own experience, are there some other things that we should be aware of in terms of the market opportunities or anything else that you'd like to share? Oh, Renee, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Sorry. Thank you for giving me the floor. Hello to John and any other achievers that are on the call today. Good seeing you. So I'm actually in the German-speaking part. I was in Basel, and I've moved across the border in France now, but I lived in Basel, Switzerland for 17 years, working for Huffman La Roche. So there's Novartis and Roche that have been based there forever, and now there are a lot of startups. I spoke to quite a few people yesterday about the innovation that's taking place. And as you said, John, it's in healthcare. It's phenomenal. They have an entire street, Gewerbestrasse, which is just one startup, pharma startup after another. They have an organization called Basel Area, which is also, it's doing promotion for the Basel area and helping new companies come in there. Swiss Innovation Park. It's also, they have accelerators, they have startup centers, co-working. There's really a lot going on there. I've spoken to some consultants. Most of my colleagues that were in the big companies before are now consultants, or they've gone into startups. So it's definitely the place to be. We have Bio Valley, which starts in Basel and goes north on the Rhine River up to where I am in Strasbourg right now. And that is really the place to be in pharma. We're in the middle of Europe. You can come in and out of here very easily. We have Zurich, Frankfurt, Basel airport. Paris is not far away. Trains take you everywhere. What more can I say? Anybody needs more information, I'm available.
Fantastic. Renee gave this year's first Globinar that talked about establishing global mindset. If you haven't seen that, there is a blog post that captures her conversation with Dr. Javidan from Thunderbird. And are you going to be at the grand opening, Renee?
I am not. Sorry. No,
okay.
not this time. I was in the U.S. in January, and I'll be back in June, July.
Renee is also, Renee's on our Global Chamber Chicago Advisory Board because of her work primarily between the Midwest and that region of Europe. So thank you very much for sharing. Catherine Reed, do you have any comments based on what you're hearing? Undoubtedly, you're in Austria, but undoubtedly you've been working with companies in Switzerland, probably heading into Asia is my guess.
Hi, Doug. Thank you for letting me put my 2 pence in today. Yeah, I would say that a lot of the points have already actually been mentioned. The fact that if you want to buy property or real estate, that you need to put 30% down. It's the same in Austria. And this kind of, general extreme thoroughness in doing business and only moving ahead with things when a decision is already, let's say, 100% clear, if not 120% clear. I think that this is something that's on the one hand, it's a strength of the Swiss that they're very cautious in many aspects, and they like everything to be, let's say, done and dusted before they move ahead with things. On the other hand, it sometimes comes in as a disadvantage if they're looking to move into markets which are much faster in their decision making, like is the case maybe with Israel. I could see Talon here, and maybe if you go to Asia or something like that, where people are expecting, much faster decision making and maybe much faster redevelopments of things. So I think that this is maybe something where the Swiss have a slight disadvantage, but it's just one of those things. If you can live with it. And I think that for sure, anything that comes out of Switzerland is going to be extremely high quality. And the advantage of working with the Swiss is, that they're very honest, straightforward to deal with. It's quite, let's say, it's quite easy place to do business with compared to many other countries. Unless you're asking them for money, and then, nobody likes to give up money. So, and the Swiss don't like to spend their money. Switzerland is like a black hole. Money goes in, it never comes back out again. So, but that's just what we would say in Austria, So.
Is that true, Lucas, John? Is that your perspective too?
Yeah, I would say.
Sorry, John. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say it's depends on where you are in the risk spectrum, because they've always been extremely conservative, especially, a lot of the small countries in Europe, they were run over by World War I, World War II. They've always been very conservative, not like California. But there's a lot of money here, and they've always been very conservative, and it was always oriented more towards bonds, fixed income and real estate and low risk things. And a lot of the wealthy in emerging markets put their money into Swiss banks for wealth management organizations, not to take risks, but rather just to keep it parked very safely and not lose money on it. They make their money on their businesses in the emerging markets, and what they put here is not meant to take risks. However, that's changing. Now that people realize that with money, you can really direct things in your portfolio. You can do impact investing. You can encourage innovation. You can encourage relationships. So they're getting more adventurous in what they're willing to do with their money. And it's fueled partly by the fact that people see what happens where you have real innovation taking place. Israel, UK, Silicon Valley, Austin, Boston, etc. And they're saying, well, we have all this money, all we need is brains and innovation to be able to actually create something. So that's why fintech has become a really big thing here. And cryptocurrency is sort of a derivation of the fintech revolution. So it depends on which angle you're looking at in the prism.
Got it. You mentioned Israel, and I'm wondering, Tal, you're on the line, and Lucas, and you had recommended Lucas for the role that he's got now. You do a bi-weekly meetup in Tel Aviv, Israel, a leader within Global Chamber around the world. Wonder if you'd like to add some comments, please.
First of all, hi everyone, and I would like to say my congratulations to Lucas. I'm really happy. I met Lucas actually before COVID started. I think it was 2.5 years ago. He was visiting Israel with his wife, and immediately we had a good click together. He's also moving fast, and I like people that move fast and thinking fast. And immediately we made some collaboration. And I'm really happy that he joined as a global chamber executive director in Switzerland. I think he will bring a very enthusiastic attitude to the Global Chamber, and he's the person of people. So a lot of connection, a lot of networking. Feel free to contact him because he knows a lot of people and he's really systematic. So if you need something, he can do this. So first of all, congratulations and good luck. And if you need me, I'm always here. And I want to invite everyone, if they need any connection in Israel, in any industry, or around the world, in the Middle East, we will be more than happy to help and assist as much as we can and connect you to what you need. We're running bi-weekly meetups, usually for networking. And lately we started to bring a speaker about special, every time a different issue that we want to focus on. So we had intellectual property lawyers that gives us a lot of insights how to do with Israel. Last time we have the innovation fund in Israel, how to bring startups and receive money and funding from the innovation fund in Israel. And next week I had a really good talk with Michael Quigley from the UK. So he will be the ones that the professional speakers that will focus on how to take yourself as a leader or a business owner in company and motivate yourself to the next level. So you are all invited. Of course, you can present your company and ask for referrals, and we will do our best to do so. So with this being said, good luck, Lukas. And I'm really happy that John Cook connected to you, because I was meeting John and we talked several times, and he's a really a small world of a lot of opportunities and knowledge. So I'm really happy that you connected.
Thank you.
I totally agree. We're running out of time, and I wanted to make sure that Africa is in this call. I wonder if either Nihi Sanusi of down in Nigeria, or Ruby Golo in Ghana, if either of you have any comments about Switzerland or just a brief introduction.
I'm glad we're having this conversation.
I think Ruby can go if she's available. Ruby.
Go ahead, please. Sorry. Go ahead, Nihi.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Nee.
You're Nihi. We're going to have to. I think there's Nihi put his information in the contact area, and so contact him. He's in Lagos. He's very well connected across Nigeria. Ruby, I don't think you've stepped up. Are you in the car?
Nigeria. Thank you very much for having me on this practice.
Hi, Doug. Thank you. I am indeed in the car because it's school pickup time. So sorry about that. And I have a very bad network here as well. I just want to say that I haven't done much business with Switzerland, but I've admired that country so much. And I would love to continue to watch out for the space there in the future. Thank you.
Very good. And I see Bob Dunphy. I think I saw you raise your hand. Bob, out of New York. Are you available to chat? Did you raise your hand?
I did. I don't know if we have enough time for this, but it did occur to me as if maybe it's a question for John, Lucas, or maybe Tal has the answer, since he seems to have a lot of answers. I'm a business broker. We sell small businesses in the U.S. here, and we actually sell them abroad in the U.K. and in France and other countries. How are small businesses bought and sold in Switzerland? Does such a thing happen? Are those transactions taking place, sort of Main Street businesses and small trucking firms and things of that nature?
Okay, good question. And that probably will be, yeah, please go ahead. Any thoughts, John or Lucas, relative to Switzerland?
I would hand over to you because I don't know how the process is in Switzerland about the buying and selling small companies.
I would say, you know, I could put you, it's not my business, but
Okay.
small companies are transacted. I have a friend who was with an advisor on M&A, and she's now in Hong Kong, but she said this is one of the most remarkable countries to do small SME M&A business in, because there's so many small companies here and they're very commercial, very commercial oriented. And so I'd say it's a very robust market, and it depends which sector you're talking about. Well, watches, chocolates, you know, trucking, technology, medical.
Right.
I think the best thing is to connect you. I don't know if your question is like from a business development or marketing standpoint, or is it more legal and accounting kind of question?
So we are sort of M&A for small enterprises. So, you know, the lower middle market, Main Street businesses. And I guess the question is there an opportunity, and we're a franchise. So we sell area development rights for either country rights or area development rights. And I'm wondering if there's an opportunity for someone to come in as a worldwide brand, because we're in 11 countries, and see if I could connect with someone who I might, you know, open up that opportunity. That would be my connection, I guess, for Switzerland or any country, frankly. Could be Israel, someone who might want to get into this world. We have very robust, we're the biggest business brokerage in the world. We have a great CRM backup for ourselves, great marketing. So it might be a good opportunity for someone to get in, and it's a very fast growing business. We've grown. We had one country when I joined 10 years ago, and we're in 11 countries now.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Quick thoughts, John or Tal?
It's just been great to meet everybody, and look forward to staying in touch. And Doug, you're doing a remarkable thing by all this networking you're putting people together on. So congratulations on that.
Our pleasure. And Bob will get you connected to both John and to Tal to make sure and to finish your question. Okay.
Appreciate it, Doug.
Hey, Doug, I know we're closing in the call, but I would like to take the opportunity to introduce Cindy West. Cynthia is part of Factum Global, and she's based in Zug as well. So Cynthia, if you can take 30 seconds of a minute to introduce yourself, that would be great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, so really nice to meet everybody. Thanks so much for that. I'll be really quick introduction, but I'm in Zug. I'm from the States as well originally. I am a founder. My company is called Spice Journeys, which I say is innovating storytelling, but it's really e-commerce publishing and audio-visual experiences. So I'm not a fintech, which is a challenge in Switzerland. I'd agree with everything that was said, except I think for creatives, it's not always the easiest here. London might be easier. But very glad to know about this group. One other quick thing about taxation. Taxation within Switzerland is great compared to other countries, but when you're looking to do cross-border transactions, it does get quite complex. So that's when you do need your Treuhänder and legal advice and the rest of it. But glad to meet all of you, and I'd like to meet those of you who are here as well in person at some point. Yeah, and if anybody needs support with going global, I am working with Factum right now. So if you do need support, do reach out. I'm on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. And Factum Global is a member. And so it's good to meet you. We hadn't heard about you until now. So I'm glad we could connect this way. I'll turn it over. Cesar, is there anything else that you wanted to say before we turn it back to Lucas?
Nothing special, only that inviting all of you to our virtual League of Opportunities tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. That's where we have 5 to 6 members pitching their offers, and so you're all invited. And we have in an hour, the New York meetup is coming up soon in an hour, so you're all invited. Thank you, John, and thank you, Lucas.
In a few hours, we have Women's History Month celebrated by Global Chamber Austin. I heard Austin mentioned earlier by John, so jump into that. We have 3 women who are speaking about their backgrounds as well and some of the opportunities. Lucas, I turn it back to you. Thank you for putting this together. Thank you for being our leader there and for this whole program. Would you like to make some closing comments, and we'll close the room?
Big thank you to you, Doug. It's amazing the network you have, like amazing also that you all came here and made this all possible. Thanks, Tal, for joining, and also John for your words and additional comments. And I'm really, really looking forward to the next meetings and bringing business to Switzerland and Swiss businesses to the world. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time, all of you. I see there's a number of members in India that are on this call. So thank you for in the late evening or later evening for participating today. Catch the New York or the Austin setups later today, or the League of Opportunities tomorrow. And we did over 500 events last year, probably over 600 this year. You know, the goal is to be connected to better opportunities more and more with less risk. And as you could tell today, the people, all the people we spoke to today are amazing, you know, in terms of their knowledge and experience. And that's what you need when you're growing internationally, as we all know. No more mistakes, right, for any of us in our global escapades. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.